Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dig into a story that reveals a pretty startling new reality, what it's really like to lose your job in today's economy. Because, well, the rules we all thought we knew, they might have completely changed. Okay, so let's jump right in and meet Keon. He's a 38-year-old software engineer making a pretty good living. And his totally normal Tuesday morning? Yeah, it gets completely shattered by a single, unexpected calendar invite from HR. And just like that, his entire world gets turned upside down. Kean's story starts with something we're calling the 9:47 a.m. trap. You see, it's this one moment that just rips the curtain away on a very dangerous illusion that's going on in our economy. The problem isn't just getting laid off, it's everything that happens next. So, on the surface, right, you look at the headlines and everything seems fine. The official unemployment rate is sitting at a comfortable 4.3%. And you see a number like that and you think, okay, the economy's healthy, kind of like it was in years past. But, and this is the absolute key, it's a huge deal. The hiring rate, the pace at which companies are actually bringing new people on board, has just plummeted to 3.1%. That is the lowest it has been since the pandemic lockdowns. Just look at this. The gap between those two bars, that's not just a space on a chart. That is the hidden crack in the job market. It tells a story that the unemployment number by itself just can't. And that gap, well, it creates the imbalance you're seeing right here. For the first time in years, the whole seesaw has just tipped over. We now have more people looking for work than there are jobs available. I mean, even if every single open job got filled tomorrow, hundreds of thousands of people would still be out there searching. So what does that actually mean for a real person, someone like Keon? Well, it means the job hunt has become this grueling new reality. A 6-month gauntlet of frustration and total uncertainty. Kean thought, like most of us would, okay, maybe 6 weeks I'll be back at work. But the data, whoa, it shows a much, much bleaker picture. The average job hunt is now a 25.7-week ordeal. That is nearly half a year with no paycheck coming in. And this shows the absolute nightmare of the modern application process. It's not about sending out 15 resumes anymore. No, now it takes over 100 applications just to get a single interview. Out of 78 jobs Kean applied for, AI filters automatically kicked out 43 before a human being ever even saw his name. And on top of that, about 1 in 5 of those job listings are ghost jobs, postings that companies never actually plan to fill. And this brutal, prolonged search, it leads you right off a cliff. Because the financial safety nets we all thought we had, the ones people used to rely on, they've either been torn to shreds or they've just vanished completely. Unemployment insurance has basically become a zip code lottery. I mean, look at this. If you lose your job in Washington state, you might get over $1,000 a week. But for Kean, down in Texas, it's just $560. And if you're in a state like Mississippi, it's a shocking $235 a week, barely enough to buy groceries. But the real gut punch for Kean's family? Healthcare. There was this really critical government subsidy that made health insurance affordable for millions, and it was just allowed to expire. With no action from Congress, premiums for families like his basically doubled overnight. So what this means is, to keep his family insured through COBRA, Kean is now looking at a monthly bill of, wait for it, $2,294. That's not a bill, that's a mortgage payment, just for health insurance. And if you really want to understand how insane that is, just look at this. The annual cost is over $27,000. I mean, you could literally go out and buy a brand new Toyota Corolla every single year. And just when you think it can't get worse, you have to layer on the looming threat of AI. This isn't science fiction anymore. A recent study out of Stanford showed a staggering 20% drop in employment for young software developers in jobs that were exposed to AI. That question on the screen? It's not hypothetical. It's a strategic business decision that companies are making as we speak. So you're desperate. Kean considers the absolute last resort, cracking open his 401k. But look at this trade-off. It's just devastating. To get his hands on just $15,000 in cash right now, he has to pull out $25,000. The rest just vanishes into taxes and penalties. And the long-term damage? He's sacrificing an estimated $120,000 in future retirement wealth. Okay, so after all of that, this brutal new landscape, what is the answer? Here's the thing. It's not about just finding a job faster. It's about building a totally different kind of security, long before you ever think you'll need it. Now, Keon's story does eventually end. Sort of. After 8 long months, he lands a new role. The catch? A $22,000 pay cut. It's a phenomenon called wage scarring, and it's this long-term financial wound that can actually impact a person's earnings for the rest of their career. And this brings us to the single most important idea of this whole explainer. The solution is to build yourself a door. And a door is so much more than just an emergency fund. It's a dedicated escape route that you build piece by piece so you can close it behind you when disaster strikes. And here's the thing. Building this door, it isn't some huge, dramatic, life-changing event. It's actually the opposite. It's simple, it's automatic, it's consistent. You open a separate high-yield savings account, you set up an automatic transfer for an amount you can actually manage, and you just let it build quietly in the background. And this right here is the whole point. Resilience in this new economy, it's not determined by how big your paycheck is. No, it's determined by your preparation. The people who get through these crises are the ones who had the foresight to build their escape route long before the fire alarm ever went off. Which leaves us with one final, really critical thought. Keon's story proves it. The world of work and the consequences of losing your job have fundamentally changed, for good. So the most important question isn't what the economy is going to do next. It's, have you changed with it?